treading the waters of insanity, hoping the deep end doesn't depend on me not loving you anymore, although I'm trying to move past you. To let you go fully means when my son looks up at me, I feel elevated. Like a queen at her coronation, I feel beautiful when my son looks at me. And yet in his eyes I see you. Beautiful, majestic, godly, black. And uncertain of what true love is, there isn't a fantasy of my love for you. I can't tell you a beautiful love story that'll make you believe in love again. Instead, I can give you the story of my life. My first love, first boyfriend, first kiss, first broken heart is my son's father, and that bothers me more than I let on. Oftentimes I spend hours thinking of you and having imaginary conversations about our son, but then the sun comes up and I realize I've wasted another day living in the past. When we were teenagers holding hands in hallways, there's always something else I could be doing, but I find myself living in those moments when my son smiles at me. There's a difference in my love for you. There's a bottomless pit of hurt and unspeakable pain, and I'm ashamed of my role in the awkwardness that exists between us. The fact that our communication has resorted to random text messages of surface greetings, the good morning queens and great rising kings. While cute, they shoot me in my gut every time they come through. It's like saying, let me speak so I can keep the peace, knowing good and well that we're on the brink of war. Fighting for our future, I see error in all of this. The broken family before becoming a family. The I love him but only saw him twice in his entire life. But if I'm being completely...
All right, we back. Bottom Up Podcast, and y'all know I'm your host, Serica. And this is where we talk all things black culture, black people, black excellence. I mean, all things black culture. Listen, we got a special guest today. It is none other than the mayor of PMPO Beach, Mayor Rex HARDIN, will be joining me today with a conversation that's long overdue. In the meantime, y'all already know I like to make sure you start off with something to think about. So we're going to play this clip and I'll see y'all in a minute.
The only way you can get a cure from a disease is from the disease itself. I come from the streets. The only thing they're going to save the streets is something that come from it. I used to be a monster. I didn't know what a man was because when down there. But my brother got shot 56 times with an AK-47 and they left him out in the rain for 4 hours in front of my mama. Everybody that lost some. Pain, lack is what breed killers. Lack of resources. Boy, we don't know that about going to get no job and the refrigerator empty. And we 14 years old and can't go get no job to pay that bill, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to know how to help us, man? You know what I'm talking about? Help heal this pain, man. Because this pain sits so deep and it'll create a monster, man. And y'all hear us out here saying we on demon time and them little boys be dead serious until the devil show up. I'm 5'5" in physical stature, but I'm 7'4" in spirit. You know what I'm talking about? What's going to change this environment, man, is us changing our mind. Because we manifest what's in our mind because we've been given behavioral scripts. When I look at y'all, I see me. When y'all look at me, y'all see y'all because we're a mirror reflection of each other. And what we have in common is the struggle. And struggle is every part of life, man. You see what I'm saying? Y'all looking at a man that died inside. Y'all want to see the living dead. You looking at it. The only reason I'm here is because God got me here. I'm supposed to been on death row. But he saved me. And I'm telling y'all this from the perspective of a real hitter. That's what we're going to stop at right there, man. They say we can't stand together for nothing. That's a lie. I come from Crip background, man. We stand together in that until somebody asks me, why would you be willing to die for a stranger who you don't know because of a blue color we have in common rather than live your life for them babies that you helped create, man? I'm just not getting to know my children, man. You hear me? Y'all daddy could be me if he ain't dead already. My daddy went never there. He chose the streets over us. My mama sold her body to put food on the table, but I ain't see her as no hoe. I saw my mama. That part.
All right. Listen, I love to make sure I always start our podcast off with something for everybody to think about, because more than anything with the work that we need to do in community, it starts with the mindset. What's up, y'all, over there on Facebook? And I wanted to play that specifically because I knew the mayor was going to be here today, all right? And I wanted to have this conversation really real, because conversations that start off with people hearing from the community, people really hearing. And this man, okay, he's not from Pompano, but that story is a story that is told in every black community like the Northwest. These are the things that happen. These are the socioeconomic issues that plague black people, black and brown people, people of poverty. It plagues them. And this conversation needed to start off very real so we can keep this going. So I want to ask you, listening to that, like what was your thoughts while you were listening to what he was saying?
Well, I was just thinking about, well, it's sad that people get to the point where they feel so frustrated with what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's a sad testament for life in a lot of areas that we all should work harder to make sure doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think what he said was you can't get a cure. You have to get the cure from the disease. The only way you can find the cure is from the disease itself. And I resonated with that so much because of the role that Lotus Mindset is playing within Pompano during this time. Like when we talk about all the socioeconomic issues and everything that the Northwest is going through, Lotus Mindset knows that. No one has to tell us that because we've lived it. So when we're talking about, fixing problems in the community, this isn't just some not random and highly qualified still outreach person that came into the community. This is community helping community. So I appreciate the city for taking a chance on Lotus Mindset for us to try to fix our own problems. So I want to speak to that. All right, Mayor, let's get into it.
Very good.
Because we got a lot to cover, a lot happening in Pompano.
Yeah, there is. There really is. And I appreciate your help there. It's authentic, and that's the difference. You can bring people in from outside, and it's important. I mean, that's important too. I mean, you've got to bring. I mean, when you're trying to do what we're trying to do in Pompano, it's good to have resources from everywhere.
Everywhere.
But yeah, it needs to be authentic also. You got to pay attention.
Yeah. So I want to make sure I start this thing off before I go any further. So much of what I'm doing right now in my community is centered around being better for myself, for my family, and for my community. And when I ask you to come on the podcast, I want people to know why I asked you to come. And I know people may think like, oh, you asked him to come because y'all Lotus Mindset has a contract with the city and the downtown project, and I couldn't ask anybody to come on. We're booked to the end of the year.
Wow. So
I've asked you to come on specifically because I wanted my community to hear from you. No filters, nobody interrupting, just an honest conversation. And the timing for me is what's necessary, because you did something, and I want to make sure I say this so everybody can hear it. Like, I lost my mom back in March, and You don't know who really for you until you're going through the hardest time of your life. Losing my mom, I really saw who was there for me. And I got some pictures I want to share that I never shared with anyone, and I want to thank you publicly because, Steph, let's put those pictures up of mom. And I want to thank you publicly because my aunt wanted a resolution for my mom. And I asked Jocelyn if she could do it. I couldn't do nothing. Like during the time I was quiet. And you came to my mom's funeral and you read the resolution at my mom's funeral. I know you could be a lot of places. You're the mayor of Pompano Beach. You could be doing a lot of things. And when I talk about keeping it real and community is a mindset, not an address to me. Mm-hmm. It's the people that show up when you need them to show up. My aunt wanted that resolution. We got it, and you came and you stayed. So I wanted to thank you publicly for that because you didn't have to do it. You didn't have to do it. I also know you were my mom's classmate. So my mom spoke about you to me many times. And it was important for me to do that for my aunt because that's what she wanted. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And so we've got a long history.
Yeah, we do. People don't know, like, Rex, me and you used to go at it.
Yeah.
We used to go at it.
And we probably still will.
We still will. And
that's okay.
Because that's the thing. Rex, I can remember, and I'm calling you Rex on here because we ain't at the commission meeting. Yeah. So y'all, if you come on here, don't expect me to be all proper with y'all. I'm going to be professional. But we having a conversation.
Yeah.
You sat, when I was staying in your district, in District 3, when you were the commissioner.
I remember sitting on your porch.
You came and sat on the porch,
boy,
right?
Yeah, you were just giving me heck. That drainage project.
Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't get out of your driveway.
I couldn't get out the driveway. They didn't pick us. I'm like, why is the trash? I can't get out the driveway. Ain't nobody can pick up the trash. No, I called. I said, no, I need you to come sit on this porch. Come sit in here and smell what I smell right here.
Yeah.
And you came.
Yeah.
And you had to park down the street. Because you walk through mud to come sit on the porch. And that's leadership to me. This ain't about me being a friend. This is about being a constituent in your district that requires me to be able to have conversations with you in disagreement and agreement.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's what it's about, serving the public. And if people aren't willing to do that, they shouldn't be in this line of work.
I agree. I 100% agree because right now, especially right now, a lot of people don't trust. And trust is such a big part of government. Mm-hmm. Especially the black community. I speak specifically for the black community. Let me not say that because I don't want anybody to think I'm speaking for all of the black community. That's not what I'm doing. I'm speaking for my community. My community knows who I am, and we have these types of conversations all the time. So when I talk about trust in government, the black community that I know, we didn't grow up trusting government. That is not there. And I don't think that's just a black community thing. I think the more you come to commission meetings, you hear nobody trusts government. Yeah. You hear that. I want to say that mainly falls for me, that trust, because of politicians. Mm-hmm. Because when you campaign, people make promises and say they're going to move heaven and earth. We're going to stop this, we're going to do this, and then they get in and it doesn't happen. And now working with the city, I noticed it's not that most of the stuff isn't happening. It's just it takes a long time for it to happen. I want to ask you this. As a politician, what are some things you think you can improve when you speak into the community, the Northwest community?
Wow. Well, I mean, I've been, of course, I mean, you know my history. I've been involved in politics since 1998, and I have, since the day I took office, I've tried to improve the black community, but more specifically now, in this time, we are on the verge of tremendous change and improvement in the black community in the Northwest District of Pompano Beach. And it's, you know, it's going to spill over into other areas. I mean, the south of Atlantic and stuff like that. But it's, I mean, it's dramatic change, and it's scary. I'll give you that. But it's going to be a real improvement in that area that has been lacking for years. And yeah, we are right on the edge of this transformational project that we've got called the downtown. And that's, I mean, that's something we have been working towards. And I can't take credit for all this. I mean, but that's something we've been working towards now for over 30 years because, you know, I served with Pat Larkins.
You did?
When I was first on the commission. I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, Pat, he was a great guy. He and I used to smoke cigarettes back then. And yeah, we'd stand outside after the commission meetings were over, and we'd smoke a few cigarettes outside the commission chambers. And yeah, he had a vision for the downtown in Pompano.
He absolutely
I mean,
did.
he was part of what created the CRA, the Northwest CRA, which was the first CRA in Pompano, and created the vision to start moving towards doing something there that would create a critical mass where we could really make something and something positive, not just for the Northwest zone. Now this downtown, it's in the Northwest because it was the area that needed a shot in the arm so bad for so many years, decades, I mean generations, because I mean you know the history of Pompano. I know the history of Pompano. It used to be black people weren't allowed east of the railroad tracks at night. And that's the way it was. We can't change that. No. I'm not saying that was right, but so we have known there's issues that need to be addressed, and there's been piecemeal things done in the Northwest. I mean, it's yeah, but so much more needs to happen there, and that's what we're on the verge of something really dramatic and really life-changing for so many people. And it's exciting. I mean, this is really what I've dreamed of since I was first on the commission, is making a big impact in the Northwest.
You know, when we talk about the Northwest community, it hits home because I'm a project kid. And when I say a project kid, I'm from Parkway East Projects. You remember Parkway East Projects? Sure. Okay. Parkway East Projects was a one-way in, one-way out, Alamo. And a lot of people ain't make it out of there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm bringing that up because July 8th, we just had a meeting, right? And it was an eventful meeting. I want to start off with the fact you gave Kodak Black the key to the city.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to play this clip right quick because talking about being a project kid herself and seeing one from GA, which we called the Puerto Rican Projects when it first got started, but GA, that's what they call it, New Age. I want to play that clip. Let's play it.
Home. Kodak, your music may have reached millions around the world, but your generosity has touched thousands right here in Pompano Beach. Whether it's providing air conditioning systems to families in need during sweltering summers, delivering hundreds of turkeys during the holidays, gifting Christmas presents and bikes to children, or paying rent for over 200 struggling families. Twice. Your actions speak volumes about the kind of man you have become. You've shown us that giving back isn't about fanfare, it's about your heart. You've used your platform to not just rise, but to lift others along the way. In looking back at past recipients of the key to the city, like football great quarterback Lamar Jackson, or Olympic swimmer and record holder Jesse Vasayo, and even community activist Miss Jeanette Copeland, they all share a common theme of giving back to our community in their own way. And so, on behalf of the city of Pompano Beach, I present you with this key to the city, a symbol of our appreciation and recognition for your unwavering commitment to this community. Congratulations, Kodak Black.
So listen, you gave Kodak Black the key to the city. Now, tell me, how did that make you feel? What did you think about it? You met him, you talked about. I don't think it was your first time meeting him. You went to the concert.
Yep, I went to his birthday party over at the community
park. Yeah,
it wasn't in the amphitheater. It was out in the park area. But yeah, I went to his birthday party a few years ago, and it was a proud moment. Mm-hmm. It really was. I mean, that's. Look, I know Kodak, he's had his problems. Mm-hmm. All of us in life have got problems. I mean, current or past. But rising above those problems, that's really what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And I think you can look at him and you can see that, he's different now than he was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. But we didn't give him, I say we, because it was the city. It's not just me, but we didn't give him the key to the city about his fame and his fortune. Mm-hmm. It's not about, this is a big celebrity. Yeah, we gotta, just put out the Ritz for him. No, it was because of the heart he shows to the community. Mm-hmm. He didn't forget. Yeah. And it's not like he comes to town like some people. They'll ride in their solid gold Cadillac and flash everything, and it's like, oh, look at me, and let's get the big all the newspapers and news media here is to really show up. No, he does it behind the scenes, and that's what makes it so impactful. Mm-hmm. I mean, this, it's what you do when nobody's looking, mm-hmm. and nobody's hearing about it. That's what really shows your character. Yeah, and that's it. So it's a proud moment. It really is.
It was.
There's some flack out there.
Absolutely. Listen, I was just about to get to that because look, one thing I noticed is that, and not even just on social media, in the lobby.
Yeah.
In the lobby, if you were sitting in the lobby or walked out in the lobby at the commission meeting, there were people who look like me. People who look like me talking down so bad on what was going on. So, I'm all about accountability regardless of who's sitting in the seat. Regardless of, because I hold myself accountable right now. I'm supposed to be eating no just vegetables and fruit. I had a 10-piece yesterday, Rex. 10 piece, okay? All right. But I'm holding myself accountable. I got to hit the gym. I got to get back to it. But I'm saying that because we have to take care of our children in Pompano. And Kodak, I've been critical of him. Mm-hmm. I've been critical of him, and I've said it from a place of love because I want to see him do better. Kodak is hope for this community, for this generation. We had, my Kodak was Tupac. I don't know if you know.
I remember the name. It's
Tupac Shakur was my Kodak. Yeah. I would listen. Step, Tupac, step. My mama couldn't stand she couldn't stand it. But he was what I needed to hear. He was what our generation needed to hear. And Kodak is that voice for his generation. So I want to pull up Hungry Man. Put up Hungry Man because there was something, there's this guy I follow on social media. He's does a lot with black media, but he also does a lot of things around black culinary experiences. I follow him, the Hungry Black Man. You should check him out. Mm-hmm. But he put up a article, not even an article, he just did a write-up on Kodak Black and receiving the key to the city. Sure. And I want to read something. Let's put that Hungry Words up, and I want to read what he said. He said instead, what is it called? Hungry Words. Hungry Words. And I'll start reading it, so by the time you get up, put it up there, it'll be there. It said instead, I'm going to skip some things here. Sure. He said he has opened his wallet and his heart not to prove himself to critics, but to lift his people, and still we mock. But I won't. And on this platform, we won't. Instead, we will honor what's good, celebrate what's worthy, and defend what's holy, because helping others, expecting nothing in return, is holy. True leadership doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with service. And Kodak Black, for all his imperfections, has shown up when it counted. In neighborhoods with no press, at funerals with no cameras, in homes with overdue rent notices and no hope. This is the kind of leadership that grows not from privilege, but from empathy. Not from image, but for impact. To the people of Pompano Beach, thank you for seeing him. And to Brother Kodak, stay the course, young brother. Your life has already become a lesson. Let it now become a light. I want to highlight that because when I see people outside of Pompano, see Pompano and see the good we have, because so much about the North, so much press go out about the Northwest community is negative.
Yeah, well.
And I hate that, because we have great things happening. We have Black excellence. We have some of the smartest people, most talented people in our community, and they don't get the opportunity because it's saturated with just negativity going out. And I despise it, because I'm part of that community, and I see good happening every day. I see people like Connie McGirt with her girls, saving our sisters. I see you came to the school, Grace Place. I just so happened to see that's the school my daughter went to. Yeah. I teach teen entrepreneurship. The guy Ephraim, he owns the Chick-fil-A in Pompano. He came there and did a customer service training with those kids. And you know, Chick-fil-A got the best customer service. You ain't never got to, you ain't got to worry about asking for extra sauce and they telling you it's 50 cents. It's a pleasure for them, okay? I see so much good happening and it doesn't get the spotlight. And that frustrates me, especially now in this political climate, because it's taking away from the positive things that's happening. And as much as people want to sit and act like it doesn't, it does. It takes the spotlight and attention off of who it's supposed to be on right now. And the priority for me right now definitely has to be the Northwest. That, to me, I think that's the priority. We saying now the downtown project is valuated for how much?
Oh, it's going to be about $2 billion.
$2 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Okay, it's a lot. Like when I heard that number, I heard my name. It was like somebody said, "Serica, come over here."
Small part of that. It's, I mean,
you
it makes
hear me?
a big difference.
And the fact that people are making it be a problem that now Black people, myself, we see the opportunity, the economic opportunity, the money. Well, what else is it about? It's about money. So now, since we know it's about money, then we pulling up. We want some. We have services. We have we have things that we can build. We have things that we can provide, and we want to do it. Now, this is what people say now. This is what people say. People say, how do we know it's going to be for us? They ain't never gave us nothing anyways. Well, like, that's what Rex, I ain't telling you nothing you don't know.
Yeah.
So what is going to be put in place to make sure that, because I'm going to be watching, you know that. So,
of course, yeah.
We can fight again if we want to, you know, but what is the city doing? And what can the city do to put in place to make sure the Northwest community is a part of it?
Well, the kind of things that we've already been talking about, you know, that job resource centers, training facilities, new community centers, jobs in the construction, new jobs created by the businesses that will be open, new business opportunities for the people who live there. I mean, think about it. You're going to have a lot of people spending a lot of money to build new structures there. Those new structures, they need to have activity. They need to have vibrancy. You're not going to suddenly have Chick-fil-A and KFC and Burger King and all these companies come in from the outside and do all this. It's going to be business opportunities for us. I mean, and I say us. I mean, it's in the Black community. It's in the Northwest. But this is us for the city. So anybody who wants to open a business, you've got people that are going to be there, and that's part of the beauty of a downtown. It's almost its own ecosystem. Yeah. You're going to have new people in there. You're going to have new businesses in there, and the city. We've worked hard to get there, and we're working hard to make sure that we're including everybody. we have had so many meetings to get the word out about what's going on and also take input.
Yeah, I can attest to that, and I will say this too, and I've said it on record. I've said it many times. When I first heard about this project and saw this project, because let's be real, gentrification is what black people see, is what we are seeing. My approach was like, okay, since that's what it is, I'm not gonna run from it, I'm gonna run towards it. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure I start preparing myself. I've been doing that for 12 years now. Okay, so I ain't just sitting here because overnight I woke up and said, hey, Serica, go to a commission meeting and see, get him a sole source contract and see. No, I put together a plan. Mm-hmm. And I worked that plan. And it is not without being told no 1,000 times, right? I'll be honest. The city done told me no way more than they've told me yes. But it didn't stop me from asking.
Right.
It didn't stop me. And I'm not going to stop asking. I'm going to keep asking. Matter of fact, I can remember I told Earl, I was talking to him, and he was, Serica, you've been trying to get a contract. You always talking about you trying to get a contract with the city, and I'm going to keep trying, Earl, because I don't see many contractors come to the city and sit at that commission chambers and look at the agenda and see the same contractor on the agenda 3 and 4 times.
Yeah.
I've seen it. So I'm going to keep submitting, and I'm going to keep bringing all of me to the table because I have a lot to give to my community. My community is the Northwest, but my city is Pompano.
That's right.
And I've had the opportunity to go all around this city talking to people far before I got involved with this downtown project. But because of the downtown project, you remember the presentations?
Oh,
when we
sure.
did all the presentations, right?
Yes.
So when we did the presentations, put up that mindset. Steph, put up mindset. When we did the presentations, I went around, I had this idea, I say I want to do it, right? I say, I want to put this up. This, where do you see yourself in this, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
And our first presentation was at Pat Larkin's. Now I'll be honest, when I was sitting in the meeting and the schedule was laid out of where they're going to go to do it, like, okay, this is where we're going to go in every district, when we're going to go schedule wise. Pat Larkin's was number 2. And I say, oh, no. You got to go to the Northwest first because that's where it's going to be.
Makes sense, yes.
So being at the table made sure that we were heard first. Mm-hmm. But, when we got to the Pat Larkin Center, you was there?
Yes, I was.
When we got to Pat Larkin Center, and I stood up there, put that where do you see back up there. Put it back up there. Put it back up there. When I put that up there, and I say, where do you see this? Talking to my community. Where do you see this? Where do you see yourself in this? I got heckled like I was the worst comedian.
But that's because most people can't see themselves there because they don't have that vision. And that's not unique to the black community because I'll tell you what, I've been doing this politics stuff for a long time.
Right.
I lived through the improvement on the beach area in Pompano Beach also. And I'll tell you what, if you had asked that same question of the people who live over in the beach area before we did the improvements, they would have said, no, I don't see myself there. No, that's that. I don't want that. And they said that.
I can see it.
And it was, we had to soldier through the people who said, no, you're not going to do that to my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. We had to get through that opposition. And now those same people, they look at what we've done. They say, wow, well, this is really nice.
Yeah.
And it is. And now we are the spot in Broward County. I've got the mayor of Weston tells me he comes over here with his wife like every single week to eat at the pier area. Yeah. And that's it. And we have got so much to offer. And so it's great what's happening in Pompano, but we're not losing the flavor of what Pompano is. Another story at the groundbreaking for the Waldorf Astoria. Now I know this is outside the Northwest.
No, but we can talk about the Waldorf because the Waldorf got part of black culture, and I'm gonna tell you about it. Go ahead.
Okay, but we were there for the groundbreaking for the Waldorf Astoria, and the guy from Hilton, it's the Waldorf Astoria is in the Hilton chain. He got up on the stage, and because he was, he's mucky muck with Hilton, goes all over the world citing their locations, and he stands up there and he starts talking about, the Waldorf Astoria, and he says, we could have gone anywhere, because this is our first Waldorf residence. He said we could have gone anywhere, but we were really attracted to this site because we looked into Pompano, and we looked at Pompano, and Pompano, it's unique. It's got some charm. It's not a Fort Lauderdale or a Miami that is all built out. It's more of, it's got character. And it does. And we're still going to have character after all we're doing, because that's what makes Pompano unique and special, is our character. And that's what we can't lose. But yeah, so most people just can't see themselves there until it's done. Then suddenly it's like, well, yeah, I can see my business in that spot.
That's not new or unique. You're right. New or unique to the Northwest or anybody. Vision takes someone to have it. Dick Gregory say once you get those glasses, the universe pick you to get them glasses, and you put them on. You can't take them off. You can't convince people to see what you see. And that's that. You just got to keep them on. Yeah. Now, you brought up the Waldorf Astoria. So the Waldorf Astoria, to me, like when I heard the Waldorf Astoria was coming to Pompano, I thought about Coming to America, Step. That's what I thought about. I thought about Coming to America when...
Great movie.
When King Joffy Joe pulled up to the Waldorf Astoria, and them flower girls got out and laid them flowers out. And when they found out Hakeem was living over there in the projects, talking about my son works. I say that to me, I see myself at the Waldorf Astoria because I had already seen it part of black culture in excellence. So, I've been saying this to my community, to black folks, and I'm going to keep saying it. Like, poverty is not our inheritance. That's not our identity. Like, we are a people of wealth, of creativity, of love, of joy, of infinite intelligence. So I want to make sure y'all know, hey, look, this is for us, whatever we want to be for us. There's a question that came in. I want to make sure I address it from LaSure Mohorn. Say, will small businesses be able to afford the overhead rent? I am just asking. I know you asking. Now I'm asking, LaSure. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Look, small businesses are the backbone of this country, and the backbone of Pompano Beach. Businesses don't get big until they start small. And yes, we're committed to our local businesses, and that's it. We just need to have some place for them to open and some people to buy things there. Because right now, you look at MLK, there's almost no businesses there, and that's not because the city has taken businesses. It's just businesses have gone out of business over time, and there's not there. We need more critical mass there, and that's part of what this is about. To bring things together so that people can open a small business. And yes, we're going to have opportunities where you don't have to take a whole storefront. You can do a co-op, so to speak. So when you're really small, when you can't afford the rent that's being charged someplace else, you could do a co-op situation.
Right.
We're going to facilitate that as a city, and because it's so important to realize that yes, this is the future for our community.
Yeah.
And no, it's our community, and that's the only reason we're doing this. I'm not doing this so some guy from New York can get rich. No. I mean, that's and I'm not getting rich. I get paid the same whether this downtown happens or not.
So I want to speak on this because that article, Steph, pull it up. I don't want to villainize people for getting rich. I don't want to villainize people for wanting to see the opportunity, the economic opportunity, because that's what you're supposed to see. This is about money, people. This is about money and money in our community. I want to talk about it because Pompano Beach City Commission deadlock again over downtown financing. Let's talk about it because the city split. The diocese split 3-3. And y'all been split for a long time. We're going to get into that later, but you got to talk about this right here.
Well, the political situation in the city of Pompano Beach on the commission has changed since this project was originally embarked upon. I mean, it was embarked upon 30 years ago, but I'm talking the actual deal with the master developer that we went through a process, an RFP to attract the master developer, all that. That agreement was actually inked back in 22, I think it was. Is when we entered into that agreement, and it was approved by the commission. Now, it wasn't unanimous. I think it was 5-1, so that one person was opposed, but you had consensus to move forward with this process because we've been waiting for so many years to get to this, and it was the right time. We had the right amount of property. We had the right partner in the master developer also. So the agreement's done. It's out there. We're creating a downtown. Well, now there's certain steps that still need to be taken to fully implement this agreement, but the agreement is there, and we are contractually bound to our partner, this master developer, to do certain things, and they are contractually bound to do certain things for us. And one of those things that we need to do is to agree how we want to finance a new city hall, a new parking garage, and potentially a new Larkin Center. In the agreement that was already signed, the developer, the master developer, is obligated to go out and borrow the money to build these public facilities, and we, the city, are obligated per contract to lease those facilities from the developer for a period of time, and then it reverts to us. But we left it in the contract. If it was more advantageous, the city could go out and get the dollars and then pay the developer to build the facilities. Now, Suzette Civil, our assistant city manager, she's a former finance director who is really good with numbers. Yeah, she did. She went out and looked at the market, and she realized that, yes, it made more sense for the city if we went out and got our own financing, which we'll call that public financing because we're the ones doing it as opposed to the private developer. So we would borrow the money, pay the developer to build the public facilities. And if we did that over the 30-year lifespan of the bonds that we're talking about, it would save the taxpayers of Pompano Beach $100 million in roughly. I mean, it's maybe 101, maybe 99, somewhere around $100 million. So the item that was before the city commission was, will you approve the public financing option so that we can go out, we the city can go out and borrow the money, pay the developer to do what he is obligated to do, and save that $100 million. And unfortunately, the commission was deadlocked, and so we have to go forward with the private financing option, which is perfectly legitimate. That's part of the contract already, is the private financing, but it's going to cost approximately $100 million more in taxpayer dollars to do that. And yeah, we've gotten, there's all kinds of legal stuff behind that, but
it bothers me a lot because I know more than I say, and I'm upset with what has happened, but I understand that, hey, commission got to do what the commission got to do. I'm not up there. I can't vote one way or another. There was a lot of things that I wish was done differently from the leaders in the Northwest community. When I talk about this downtown project, I try my best to find the silver lining because a lot of the community is in a tough position because you have the district commissioner who's voting against the project consistently, 8-9 years consistently. No. I'm like I can pull some stuff up, in which I will here, but district commissioner is voting no on the project, and then here you have Patricia Williams, former state rep, is the outreach liaison for the master developer, Roca Point. You have Lotus Mindset, which consists of 4 black women, myself being one of them, Candace Witherspoon, Aisha Aleyande, and Mona Lisa Weber. We come in to do the outreach and engagement for the project. And the community now is listening to both sides.
Good.
They're listening to both sides. And I'm never trying to convince someone to believe what I believe or think what I think. I want to give people the education. And I want people to hear both sides, because I'll be honest, when I came back from college, which didn't like that wasn't a good experience for me, college people, but hey, to each his own, okay? When I came back, at that time, the argument was about the CRA and the county city lawsuit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So here me is, I don't know what's going on. I go to the leaders in my community. What's going on? We don't want this. We want this. We don't want them here. We don't want this. We don't want. Okay. If you don't know what's going on, me personally, I'm gonna tell you, and I don't shy away from when I say this. Inherently, I trust black people more. Inherently. Okay? But I also am very, very much interested and curious about the truth. So I'm either going to get it through experience or I'm going to find it by researching. And I did both over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay? So with doing that, and listen, people, I don't have no G14 classified information. Listen, everything I'm talking about is public information, okay? All y'all got to do, I told you to make Kervin Alfred your best friend, the clerk, public records, go online, request the documents, read it for yourself. This document lists what that settlement was. And the CRA at that time, the city was fighting to keep the CRA moving forward for another 30 years.
Yep.
The community didn't want that. We didn't want that. Hey, look, that's what happened. And because we didn't want that, we forego approximately $200 million in TIFF funding that would have came to the Northwest CRA district to take a $10 million settlement. So look, me now being a businesswoman, when I look at that and I weigh that, we made an emotional decision about business. And it cost this community, it cost future generations. This was my future.
Yes, it was.
This was my future.
That was the city of Pompano Beach's future.
And
Yes.
I could be mad. Instead, I got educated. I got organized. And I started working on ways to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. Without the people knowing. Because see, I didn't know. I did not know. I promise you. And if you go look at that $10 million and see how much of that $10 million it just got dispersed this year. This year it just got dispersed. That $10 million is supposed to cover a Northwest CRA district that's over 3,000 acres. I think a lot of people need to be held accountable who knew better, but did it as a power play to show people because you didn't like somebody. Rex, if I did everything based on who I like and didn't like,
Yes.
I wouldn't get nothing done because we didn't like some people.
Yeah.
And I see that happening again. I see that happening again. I see the constant attacks that are being made from the dais. And I'm saying that to be very transparent with people, because I want people to understand how it affects your community when these things happen. Because something has to happen. Something has to happen. And who does it hurt the most? Now, I brought that up because the Northwest lost that 200 plus million. We got 10 million.
Yep.
That's supposed to go to residential slum and blight to fix up people's houses. Y'all, that's what I'll do next. I'll tell y'all who got that money. I will tell y'all who got that money. That's where we'll go the next time. But I'm not going to just say it. Y'all know I like receipts. I'm 42 years old and I got 42 years worth of receipts.
But just to be clear, though, that $10 million, that was administered by the county.
Yeah, that's not y'all. So y'all didn't get the county.
They took it from us and said, okay, here's a little.
Why did this county administer it?
Well, because they said they could do it better, and they wanted to make sure it made such a difference in the Northwest community.
So who came up with that number, 10 million, from 200 million to 10?
It was a negotiated number. Yeah, it was litigation was involved, so we had closed sessions where discussions were had and things of that nature. It's all public record now, because once the litigation's over, you can see what took place in the closed sessions. I voted against it, but yeah, it was decided $10 million. We're going to give that little crumb, so to speak. And that's, boom.
Yeah. And then, hey, here we are, downtown project coming. And we talking about, is it going to help the rest of the, well, we just had 200 million that we let go. Now, come on, people. I want to say this. Being that we talked about losing that $200 million, about that, roughly. The Northwest need money. We need resources. I'm going to play a clip. Matter of fact, play this clip. Y'all know, listen, Steph, I said I'm going to get me a shirt made, right? And the shirt going to say, Steph, roll the clip. That's what I said. It's going to be, Steph, roll the clip. And you're going to know what I'm talking about. All right. It is called... No. Where is it? Pompano Exchange. Try that. Northwest. Pompano Exchange, Northwest.
Exchange?
Pompano. Oh, Northwest. Northwest. Okay, we're going to play this clip, y'all, because we're talking about the money that's in Pompano, in the Northwest specifically. The Northwest CRA. Go ahead, play that clip.
Okay. I mentioned at the last meeting also about revisiting, in light of our budget and budget season, revisiting our TIFF split with CRA. And I haven't heard anything back yet on that. So since we do have a full budget meeting on the 14th, I think the pushback when I heard from staff was that there may be some debt obligations that would be tied to that. And I did have a good conversation, and a very long one, with some financial folks and Ms. Sybil. But I'd like to see if we can go ahead and revisit that so that we potentially may be able to free up some dollars, if needed, to add to our general fund rather than terminate more employees. Or use it for paving roads. We understand just have money in our arsenal. Both CRAs have been operational for well over 30 years at this point, and it's standard practice, as I mentioned before, for as growth happens to share some of the incremental tax revenue with the city that is also providing all of the services to that brand new beautiful stuff that we all enjoy. So I mentioned several options: 60-40, 70-30, 50-50. I think maybe it's just a better idea to start with the lowest at this point and just go 70-30 and see what the numbers are there. That would free up about $2.5 million and change for us if we were able to apply that. But I'd like us to be able to revisit that and discuss that know what our limitations may or may not be by the time we have our budget meeting, if at all possible.
All right. So I want to talk about that because I know what that is.
Yeah.
And when people don't know don't read the backup, or they don't know and they're not as involved, they will think that's just another run of the mill. I want you to explain what that is that your colleague is asking the commission to do, and where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm against it. I'll start with that. But now the explanation of what it is. When you've got a CRA, a TIFF taxing district like the Northwest CRA, what happens is you've got your base year. So let's say the Northwest produced $1 million in taxes when it was first created. Mm-hmm. Over time, as the property values increase, any additional taxes that get produced over that base $1 million mm-hmm. can only be used in that area.
Okay.
So if today, instead of that $1 million in taxes, you've got $2 million in taxes that gets generated by that area, the $1 million still goes to the general coffers of the city to pay for the police, fire, everything else, but that additional $1 million can only be used in the Northwest CRA area. So we can't fudge it and all that kind of stuff because that's what it's designed for. That's why you create a CRA, is to be able to have these additional funds that are designated for that area.
And it goes into the different programs,
projects,
and things in the community.
We've spent millions of dollars in those TIF funds, and what's happened now, our TIF areas, they are such an age that we could, if we as a commission chose to, we could take some of that funding out mm-hmm. and take it out of that Northwest CRA area mm-hmm. and just put it in the general fund for the city to help pay for police, fire, and everything else. Mm-hmm. Well,
she said roads.
Well, roads, whatever you want to spend it on, you can spend it on. I mean, that's part of the normal budgeting process. Mm-hmm. So because basically that would reduce the tax burden on everybody else in the city. Mm-hmm. So the dollars we could take from the Northwest CRA suddenly mm-hmm. reduces the taxes for mm-hmm. Palm Air, reduces the taxes for the beach area, reduces the taxes for the Garden Isles area. Mm-hmm. It helps to reduce those taxes.
Right.
And it would.
Right.
But it reduces the benefits that we can do in the Northwest CRA because you're taking the dollars out of there. And right. that's why we created these CRAs, is because it's fine if you think the Northwest CRA has done its job and you can't do any more out there, then fine, okay, we can divert funds. I personally think we've got a lot more work to do out there. Mm-hmm. And I want to keep as many funds as possible in the Northwest CRA to make the difference that I know can be made out there.
I find it not funny, I won't say funny, I find it when people talk out of both sides of their mouths, for me, I get, fidgety, because Commissioner Fezzik is speaking directly to the Northwest community, and a lot of her comments and a lot of what she says is about what has happened to the Northwest community. Matter of fact, her reason for voting no is saying that she felt it was immoral. I'm not going to put words in people's mouth. We got that clip. I'm going to send you that clip. I have a problem, okay, so if you're speaking for the Northwest community, or that you want to help the Northwest community, but a mechanism that is put in place to clean up slum and blight and to help rebuild the community, and the money that is going to be made in surplus that stay in that community, you saying you want 30%, 40%, 50%, what you want it. You want some of that money. When this community is owed a debt, I want people to know This is what that was. So it gets glazed over because the smiling it could distract people when you can speak to their pain. Mm-hmm. When you can speak to listen. I know what it feels like to be pandered to. I know what it feels. Listen, when Hillary pulled out the hot sauce, we knew. Did we know? Like some of us just know, right? We know when it's just too thick. Okay? This is about money. Yep. This is about money. In my conversations, I say this all the time, and I say it when I'm sitting in city meetings, when I'm sitting with my people in my community, when I'm sitting with my friends. I am looking at this project purely for the economic opportunity. So I want my community to look at it that way. They don't have to. They don't have to. I would like them to, because the problem we have is the lack of resources, financial literacy, and the opportunities. Now, I got a myriad of things I can name that added to that, but here we are with an opportunity to move forward and address some things. Yeah. Okay? Because when people start asking and bringing up stuff that happened 5 years ago, I'm like, why are we stopping at 5 years? Let's go back 30 years. Let's go back 30 and start looking at what some of them commissioners did. Yeah. Because we can't just want to stop when we want to point at one or two people. There's a line of people and things. And then why go back 30 years? Black people can go back a long time in this country about all the things that we feel we need to be addressed. But this is about business. Mm-hmm. This is monies. And all of what I hope people hear when we are talking about business in our community and to the city. It's not about how we feel. That's not the venue for it. I do poetry now. You should check it out one time. Yeah. You came to the album release that the city did. I did. You did. Right. You came to. So I have a place to go to talk about how I feel. Mm-hmm. Poetry night. But when I go down to the city hall or CRA meeting or the Economic Development Council, I'm talking about money. Where is the opportunities?
That's it. And basically, what that clip shows is, okay, there is a pot of money, and where do you want that pot of money to be allocated? Right. And thinking long term, I think the best place for that money to be allocated is the Northwest for several reasons. One, you just pointed out, the need is greatest out there, but also from a purely selfish standpoint, if we invest money in the Northwest, that's going to be an economic engine for the city. I'm talking for the city. Yeah. The spillover effects of what's going to happen out there are truly dramatic. And that is long term. There's going to come a point in time where, we will be able to divert taxes out of that area to other areas, and it'll help reduce the taxes for the entire city. Mm-hmm. But now is not the time. Right. You're talking about like shooting the goose that lays the golden egg. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you sacrifice a golden future for a chocolate bar today? Yeah. I don't see it. Yeah, well, a couple of those decisions have been made in our community, but hey, who am I? I'm just Serica, okay? I host a podcast, I do a few things around the way, but I guess not. Okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit because I do want to address a couple things. I don't know if I put that up there. No, I was trying to podcast. Play podcast. So it was last meeting, the July 8th meeting. You good? Okay. So we're gonna play this video.
To have people who had vested interests in projects be speaking ill of us or on social media. There's actually still podcasts being made, and I'm not quite sure, and I would ask for clarification on this actually, if the people creating those podcasts to discredit some of our sitting officials are being paid by the city. Because that would sort of go against what is in the consultant contract, where you're supposed to present a positive image of working together and working for a common goal. It's okay if we disagree. It's okay. We will all get through it. We can work together. But we don't need to turn this into some sort of high school and middle school behavior, which I have personally experienced many times, and I'm not complaining. I signed up for this. I know what I did. But I don't want to see this. I didn't sign up to work in a high school or a middle school environment. Children are grown. I want to make the city, I love the city, and I want to do what's best for the city, just like I feel everybody to have.
So I brought that up. Because you're sitting on the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. But you're not the only politician I've asked to come on the podcast.
Okay.
I've had County Commissioner Robert McKenzie on. I've had District 4 Pompano Beach Commissioner Beverly Perkins on. And now I have the mayor on. Every time I come on, I want to make sure to the audience that's listening that they understand why people are coming to talk to them. But I don't like when people try to control the narrative in a way that makes them the victim. I don't like that, Rex, and I'm going to tell you that because I don't attack unprovoked, because I'm a lover. Like I just like peace. I'm really a tree hugger. I like being by myself. You know, I don't like confusion and negativity. It don't do well with me. I go to breaking out. Yeah. You know, I don't like it.
Nobody does. I don't. Well,
I don't know. I don't think that nobody doesn't like it. I think, you know, some people find enjoyment in it. Yeah. So I want to say this, that I have said many times, Steph, how many times have I said, this is an open platform? How many times have I said it? We're gonna pull it up, and matter of fact, don't worry, we're gonna bring that video clip back next time, because I've said it many times. I'm open to people coming and having a conversation. A conversation.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
A conversation. Yeah. Right? But when we have a conversation, we got to start with some truth and transparency. Truth and transparency. And I am making sure I reach the community with the information that they need to know. I've been talking to my community about what's going on at City Hall before I had a producer. Yeah. Before I had this setup. Before I've been doing it holding my phone. I ain't had an iPhone back then. I was an Android person. If you go back and look at them, they real pixelated. It's just not good videos at all. But the content was there. The substance was there, people. And you got something out of it. But I was talking. I was educating. I was sharing what was going on. This isn't a smear campaign. Mm-hmm. And I want to be very clear, because look, you know it's gonna be some pushback on this. You know it. You're gonna go up on that dais in a couple weeks, and they gonna talk about Rex, you sitting on the podcast.
That's okay.
So I'm just letting you know. Now I'm saying that because let's be real, people. We're gonna play a video. Fezzik, we're gonna play that video. Because I want to make sure people understand that I am open to talking to everybody. But we're going to play a timeline here. That video that you just saw of the commissioner bringing up the podcast, that was just this past Tuesday, July 8th, when you gave Kodak Black the key to the city. Some other stuff popped off. Might not get to it, but we going to see. I want to go back to February 17th. Play that video.
Hey there, guys. Audrey Fezzik, your city commissioner here in Pompano Beach, District 1. I have a gigantic problem, with the situation that is happening currently with our downtown Pompano Beach. New Facebook messaging, brand new Facebook and Instagram messaging. Everything is wonderful in the land of make-believe, of course, because that's the way it works out, right? Anyway, I would like to share this with you because I feel that this is very important information. Now, if you do remember, if you have been paying attention, we do have the we received as City Commission, because we were requesting this information, a number of contracts from the city and the CRA. This is literally the tip of the iceberg, folks. If you want to know how your tax dollars are spent, let me just show you a few thousand or hundreds of thousands of dollars of how it has been spent. I don't think you're going to like it. Sorry. Number one. Ma'am, if you were to watch the City Commission meeting, she goes by Reverend Dr. Sharon Stone Walker. Boom. She is also an owner of the LLC called Pompano United LLC, which from October 23 to 24 made $75,000 in community outreach with the city of Pompano Beach. That contract was renewed for another $110,000, basically to backdate some stuff. But from December 8th, 2024 to October 29th, 2025. Her main job, and I can be very happy to show you because it's outlined in that contract. She's in charge of promoting the new downtown and promoting everything that happens within it. She is a CRA cheerleader and voice puppet. There's nothing else to say about that. And she's being paid very, very well. More than I'm being paid, to be honest. I make, you can look it up, about $50-something thousand. It doesn't even make sense. It's $1,700 a paycheck after taxes every 2 weeks. So put in perspective, she's making a lot more money as a consultant than I am as your city commissioner. That's a problem. 2, Ms. or Mrs., or I'm not sure, Ms. Sarah Peterson. Sarah Peterson owns a host of LLCs, 2 of which are employed by the CRA and or the city. The Round Table Project made a $25,000 contract happen. Now, granted, some of that was part of the spoken voice and this Pompano Beach sound, the whole CD that they released, whatever. That's just fine. Not faulting her for being a talented person. I'm multifaceted as well. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is using taxpayer dollars to do it. Second part, December 18th, 2024. Lotus Mindset LLC, also Sarah Peterson, by the way. She has an $85,000 a year contract, which is, again, more than I'm being paid as your city commissioner. She is paid $7,083.33 per month. And her main job is to, again, be a community consultant and contribute to whatever the city and the CRA, whatever their messaging is, she's there to promote it. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I fail to remember? I did. I completely forgot. Ms. Sharon Stonewalker does not live in the city of Pompano Beach. She sold her property to the CRA, no less. But she also lives now in Plantation. And Miss Sarah Peterson, who also does not live in Pompano Beach. She's not paying your taxes, so she could give absolutely to your choice of words there, not mine. Her actual mailing address is in Deerfield Beach. I'm not done yet because we got more. You know, Vice Mayor Fournier challenged the city manager and a few other people to find the 10 worst contracts that the city had. These may not even be it, folks. They may not. But when it comes down to transparency, and when it comes down to what you're being told versus what you're being served. Remember, I have a marketing background and I can sniff this stuff out like nobody's business. I will help you figure out what is true and what is not, and I will do it without any problem doing it. Why? Because I actually only care about us, the taxpayers, who are actually footing this insane bill to watch these people come and challenge us on the dais. I'm not done yet, though, because I still have.
All right. Now, it had about 4 more minutes left on that, but I wanted to come on back, right? I wanted to come on back in, okay?
Keep it real.
Yeah? Rex, you said it. I think I got to now, so let's play this. July 8th, Commissioner brought up about the podcast, okay? Speaking disparagingly, some things she was making about the podcast. I'm not trying to discredit anyone. I played that video because that happened, and I said February 17th. Let me be clear, it was February 16th, okay? I want to pull up this text. Text 1. Good afternoon, Commissioner. This is Miss Fezzik, Commissioner Fezzik. I want to confirm lunch on 18th at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m., whichever is good for you. February 13th, I got a text saying, hey there, Audrey Fezzik here. Wanted to let you know that I have a long meeting today, Tuesday afternoon. So if we need to work something out, it may be best to find a better time. February 13th, I said, would a late lunch, say 3 or 4 work best for you? She said, not on Tuesday. Okay, so I said, same day, February 13th. Is Wednesday better for you? That was February 13th. February 16th, that video came out. February 17th is where I seen Commissioner Fezzik at the Black History Parade. I want to make sure everybody understands this timeline. My goal, and I have spoken with every commissioner except 2. Audrey, Commissioner Fezzik, I'm sorry, and Vice Mayor Fournier. I don't know, I'm from Pompano, so you know we say back and bite. Commissioner Fournier, I didn't speak to them about it, but this was my meeting to talk to her. But I'm attacked. So again, people, I want you all to know that I have no problem talking to anybody, but everybody gotta be real. You cannot make this be a problem that I have a contract with the city as if I'm doing something illegal. Yeah. If I did something wrong, I am providing a service, a scope of services to the city that I feel I was the best to do it, which is why I did a sole source, because of the will of economic opportunity. Mm-hmm. That's what I brought to you all. Something that I'll say again. I took that will of economic opportunity 8 years ago to Commissioner Perkins first. So I am not going to stop when somebody tells me no. Just find somebody else to tell me yes. Yeah. That's me. So the will of economic opportunity, put that up there, Step. People, do they see themselves in the picture of the downtown? They couldn't see themselves. But hey, can you see yourself here? Can you see yourself in technology, in money and finance, in culture, in public realm, in historic preservation, in education? All of these things are what it takes to build a healthy ecosystem within a community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything. This is what it takes to build in a downtown. This is actually something you can apply to your personal life to diversify your portfolio and how to make money. Like, you can use this on a personal level. You can use it for your family. You can listen. I want to provide my community with solutions because the problems aren't new or unique. Yeah. And too many people are using our pain for their political agenda. And it needs to stop because no one can speak. I'm going to say this again. My experience is the commission's education. They just have to listen. Mm-hmm. I can say, Rex, you and I, we've disagreed quite a bit. But where we agree, we move forward on that. I appreciate that about you. Now, we are not done just yet, but we about to wrap it up because, Rex, that July 8th meeting was brutal. That was a brutal meeting. After you gave the key, that was good. That was good. That was the highlight. You gave the key. We good. We all.
Yep.
And then it seemed like it went from a peak. I don't know what that was after. But the evaluation of the city manager.
Yes.
Was brutal. It was brutal. I don't know why commission meetings going into 5 and 6 hours now. I don't know. Like, it's a shift. Y'all got to make sure we got food out there. Y'all got to make sure. Listen, I'm throwing it out there. I think the city should allow somebody to provide food at commission meetings because we there for a whole shift, 6 and 7 hours, you know. But it was brutal to watch. And there was a heated exchange. Put that, bring that up, the Pompano Exchange article. I saw this. Someone sent me this. That's not even in Pompano.
Oh, wow.
That's not in Pompano. Put that article up, that clip up. And then we're going to do that exchange, Pompano Exchange. But this article was sent to me about Pompano. And it wasn't in a positive light. Now listen, you would think that, hey, it probably would be about, you know, something happened with somebody out in the streets, you know, maybe a bar fight. No. Heated exchange shows Pompano Beach's division. And it was caught on live TV, Channel 7 or 10, played it. And this is a representation of us.
It is. It's a representation of our city, unfortunately.
There was a heated exchange between you and the vice mayor. And I'm going to play that clip. Now listen, this is a trigger warning for me. Because I don't like to see certain things. I just don't like to see people treated. I don't care who it is. I just don't like to see it. So we're going to play this clip of the Pompano Exchange. And
it's not our finest hour.
Yeah. You got it? Let's play it.
For so long under this city manager. The city manager has funneled their money through the Northwest CRA, out of their neighborhoods and into other projects. Follow the money.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to interrupt again. You need to stick with accuracies. The city manager does the budgeting. We approve the budget. He follows the budget. Unless you've got some evidence of illegality, that's absolutely inaccurate. Vice Mayor.
I don't think a performance review has to do with legality. It has to do with my
Yes,
view of
Vice Mayor, it certainly has to do with accuracy, and obviously you are inaccurate. Now, if you want to continue, if you want to continue with that, it just shows to your character.
How many local black landowners received rent for vacant buildings?
Yeah. Like I said, not our finest hour. We do have some division on the commission right now. That's it. That's obvious. But what took place during our city manager's review was, in my mind, just unconscionable. I mean, look, the city manager works for the city commission, and the only opportunity that we have as a commission to do certain things is at commission meetings, which makes it very difficult. But if you've got a problem with the performance of the city manager, every city commissioner and mayor, we can go to him anytime. I mean, it's not like he's going to say no. We're his boss. So you can go to his office. You can tell him, you're doing a terrible job. I want you to change this. You need to smile more often. You need to do this better. I think your performance is lacking here. Okay. Now, the only time we can actually get together and give him a raise, perhaps, or not give him a raise, is at a public commission meeting. I talk to the city manager. I give him input on his way of doing things and my feelings about it. Which, trust me, we've had some knockdown dragouts up on the fourth floor because I don't agree with everything he's done, and I wouldn't expect to. But I leave it on the fourth floor. What took place at that commission meeting, if that happened in a quote-unquote public company out in the real world someplace, the boss berating an employee like that, they'd probably have a lawsuit with the EEOC or something like that. I mean, that's and my problem in that actual circumstance was trying to tear somebody's reputation down. This is a man who has been doing this for decades, great stellar reputation. He has led our city, the city of Pompano Beach, to where it is today, which I can tell you where we are today versus 15, 20 years ago is far and above where we could have even expected. I mean, he has done a great job, but that's okay. The vice mayor, she may not think he's done a great job, but to treat him the way that she was dressing him down, that's not professional. On top of which, the inaccuracies, and I'll call it what it is, the lies. Can't tolerate that. It's okay. You want to have a difference of opinion? Let's have at it. But keep it honest. Otherwise, that's not the way to do business. And just the personal attacks. We are supposed to be a professional organization. We need to think about the way things look to the outside public. I mean, we represent the city of Pompano Beach. We represent the taxpayers, but we represent the city of Pompano Beach. Me, myself, the vice mayor, the city commissioners, and I'll tell you what, stuff like that, let's say you're a big, high dollar financier up in New York. You're thinking to yourself, well, I can work from anywhere. Let's look at Florida. Let's look down in Florida. I hear it's a nice place down there. Well, okay, let's, you got Boca, you got Fort Lauderdale, you got Pompano Beach. I've heard good things about Pompano Beach. Now, if you picked up on that episode right there, you'd probably say, well, I don't want to go there and invest my money. No, let's look at Boca. And that's the kind of thing that can ruin a community.
Yeah. It
really is, and it won't ruin it today. What happens is, look, we've got tremendous growth going on in the city of Pompano Beach. Thankfully, we're lucky to have it. But those dollars have been programmed for years. But it's down the road. You've got to think about the people who have money to invest in the future, and that's the kind of episode that can impact those people in the future. They won't invest their money. Consequently, you won't have growth. You won't have new taxes. You won't have the kind of prosperous community in the future because of the episodes like that.
Yeah.
It's doing damage to our city.
Listen, it really is. I have people in the entertainment industry that I work with, and I'm constantly trying to say, y'all come check out Pompano, and man, literally like, like they get a whiff of it, and it's like, I don't know, and that it's frustrating because this is all happening around the time it's time for the Northwest to get what's its due. So is it like, why now? Like, why all of this now? And what's even more is like, how do we move forward in a way that brings people in? Now I'm gonna say this. Look, someone asked me in the comments here, I want to address a couple things. Let me go back up because I don't want nobody to accuse me of not asking the questions. Hold on. Why don't you have them all on the podcast? Well, first, they all can't be in one place together without the clerk being there talking official city business. But I can have them on individually. It's no problem. And I will, if they're open to coming on. I'm booked to the end of the year. I got some of them in there, but hey, you can't come over here acting like that. That's not gonna happen. That's not acceptable in my house. Now I want to say this too. Ageism is a thing, and I was raised by some strong people, black women. I was raised by a community here in Pompano that if I dared talk to an elder the way that I'm scared, my one fear in life is meeting God with my work undone and being convicted of things that I know I shouldn't do. So seeing that type of attack, and it was brutal. Mm-hmm. It was brutal. And what does that do? How does that inspire any type of connectivity or growth with city employees? Like the morale, like this, if you would tear down the city manager, how would you talk to the janitor? Like that, I think about stuff like that. Like there has to be a boundary set on how we talk to city staff. It's not the first time I've seen, and she's not the only one I've seen attack city staff.
Yeah.
And Suzette Sybil being one of them. I want to say this because me and you go back and forth on this. When it comes time for the community to come out and speak, during audience to be heard, I came to you with that at the end of the meeting along with Gonzalez Joseph. That 30 minutes, that was policy that you all set to be the first 30 minutes be for audience to be heard, and if it goes over 30 minutes, it goes to the end. It used to be audience to be heard till we all done. I remember sitting in the meeting, and it was about 100 people in there with red shirts on talking about cats, and they held that meeting up for hours.
That's probably when it got changed.
For hours, okay? To end the meeting with a meeting with the city manager. Mm-hmm. But they wanted to be heard, right?
Sure.
They wanted to be heard. So now, city commission created a policy where 30 minutes is for audience to be heard. But at that meeting, and it happens often, in those 30 minutes, the commission go on monologues and eat up the 30 minutes that's set aside for audience to be heard. Now we're gonna same thing. I hear you, but I want people to hear. Why are you all allowing the commissioners to eat up the audience time to be heard? Because then people already get off work, come there, sit there, and we here for 30 minutes to be heard, and then y'all take up 27 minutes talking, and then say we got to wait to the end of the meeting. Like, if we're gonna respect y'all time, y'all gotta respect our time, and y'all ate that time up from the people. People got up and left. You seen it?
Yep.
They
sure.
got up and left.
I know.
I mean, you gotta speak to that, because I've had multiple people ask me about that.
Well, I mean, it is audience to be heard the first half hour of the meeting. We'll take as many speakers as we can get through in that first half hour. And if we run out of time, it can be heard at the end of the meeting, which, yeah, it happens oftentimes. But as you pointed out, what happens sometimes is somebody will come up during audience to be heard with an issue, whatever the issue is, and suddenly a commissioner wants to speak on that issue, wants to ask a question on that issue, and that it can just spawn additional conversations. And yes, one leads to another, and before you know it, the public is limited to 3 minutes.
Right.
Okay? But commissioners, they're not limited. They can speak
7-hour meetings.
They can't speak unlimited, but they can speak for a lot longer than 3 minutes. But I still have to keep that half hour at the beginning of the meeting, because we do have business to conduct. And I'm sorry if the commissioners, and I've spoken during audience to be heard too. I try and keep it very brief when I do, but it happens. Those commissioners and vice mayor, they are elected by the people. They're elected to be there to represent the people. And they need to be allowed to speak, because they're speaking on behalf of the people. So I'm not going to cut them off.
But I'm not asking you first. I'm not asking you. I'm saying for 30 minutes. For 30 minutes. And in the meeting since this new commission, every meeting has been a minimum of 4 hours. You mean to tell me 30 minutes? That is policy for audience to be heard, which means y'all supposed to listen. If you talking while they supposed to be talking, you not hearing them. And I'm making that argument because it cannot continue, because you're going to continue to discourage people from even coming to speak if you keep eating up the time.
Well, I encourage people to come and speak on that issue.
Yeah, y'all heard it. I just tried to have a conversation.
I cannot stop those commissioners from speaking because they were elected to speak. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to minimize in any way what they say during the audience to be heard portion either, because sometimes they have important points to make. Sometimes they want to address staff about the issue that was brought. I mean, there sometimes are valid reasons.
So why not give them back? Okay, so why not give the audience back the time y'all ate up?
People can have as much time as they want at the end of the meeting. There's no limit at the end of the meeting.
But they did at the beginning.
The meeting is there to conduct business.
I get it.
So the business has to be done. Some communities have audience to be heard only at the end.
I get it. I understand. We Pompano though.
I hear you.
We Pompano.
It's not a perfect system.
It's not. It's not. I'm not saying what I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying is that it takes courage for people to come up there to speak. It takes time for people to come up there and speak, and you give them 30 minutes. You give them a window to speak before you get to the business, and then you eat up the 30 minutes.
Yeah. That
does not even begin to send a message that we want to hear you. I'm saying that because we have to make sure that when it's our time to speak, we have an opportunity. Because we're going to be here for 6 hours anyways. You can hold that to the next part. Listen, before I go, I want to make sure, put up the E. Put up the E, because we got to make a lot of noise. We got to make a lot of noise because Blanchie High School
Yeah.
Blanche Ely High School, A-rated school, my alma mater. My alma mater. Hey, shout out to Principal Tavares Williams, a Blanche Ely graduate, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, because we produce excellence. You know, we produce excellence. Shout out to Blanche Ely High School for getting an A and being an A-rated school. Listen.
That's it.
This it.
That's it.
This is why we must continue to do what we're doing when we're supporting Blanche Ely High School, not just in athletics, but in academia.
Yeah.
Okay? Shout out to the teachers, the staff, you know, everybody, the principal, the students.
That's it.
Man, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all.
Great job.
Listen, I also want to make sure before we go, I thank you, Mayor. Don't let this be your last time. You're welcome to come back.
No, I appreciate you inviting me. It's, you know, it's good to get information out there. And you know, and so many times the government, and I'm part of the government, a city commissioner, look, you can say what you want, but I am part of the government. The government gets criticized for not getting information out there. And especially oftentimes gets criticized for, okay, you're putting out lies and misinformation. I mean, you kind of pay attention to what's going on, and I'm here to answer questions, and I tell the truth.
Yeah.
And you may not like the answer, but I'm here to talk always.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Listen, y'all, it's been a real one. We're gonna keep it going. Look, y'all stay tuned. Subscribe to the podcast. We streaming live now on Facebook too. So y'all go over to the podcast because it's some stuff we only going to do over there on YouTube. So y'all make sure y'all tune in. I always like to end with a view of what I see in culture. Y'all know I'm a poet, right? Did you know I'm a poet,
yeah, for
right?
Sure.
So I want people to see October of 2022. I lost everything. And end up having to find a place last minute. And I ended up on 7th Avenue in Pompano. And while I was there, I realized, because my mom came and helped me move, my mom told me she lived in the one next door. I realized then that there was a generational cycle of poverty. And I, at that moment, made a commitment to myself and to my lineage. It was the last time. So since October 2022, I have been working on that. And while I was there though, because I don't despise any place I am in, especially in Pompano, because there's always work to do, I wrote a poem. And I also took some pictures. So I'm going to play that on the way out. And I'm going to see y'all around. Thank y'all for joining us. Bottom Up Podcast. We out.
Hey, you, running for your life. Stand still and know that I am God, like my mother and my father. I am you. Hey, you, hear me above the noise. Deeper than the wounds of trauma, hear me, you are healed and healing on your knees. Assume no position higher than knees bent in servitude, you have a higher calling. Good mornings I lived on after dying 1,000,000 times and still rising. Maya Angelou, Poetic Justice. In the slums of Pompano, exit 36 between Atlantic and Martin, having a dream, death walking the streets I live on. I live on. I dream on. The boulevard of no return, watch the Lazarus effect. You possess the ability to speak things into existence. Poet, heavy, double scoops. Hey, you, running for your life. Stand still and know that I am God, like my mother and my father. I am you. Hey, you. Hear me above the noise. Deeper than the wounds of trauma, hear me, you are healed and healing on your knees. Assume no position higher than knees bent in servitude, you have a higher calling. Good mornings I lived on after dying 1,000,000 times and still rising. Maya Angelou, Poetic Justice. In the slums of Pompano, exit 36 between Atlantic and Martin, having a dream, death walk in the streets I live on. I live on. I dream on. The boulevard of no return, watch the Lazarus effect. You possess the ability to speak things into existence. Poet, heavy, double scoops. My son looks at me the way I wish his father saw me. With complete adoration of my mere existence, I know it sounds crazy, and perhaps it is. Or I'm treading the waters of insanity, hoping the deep end doesn't depend on me not loving you anymore, although I'm trying to move past you. To let you go fully means when my son looks up at me, I feel elevated. Like a queen at her coronation, I feel beautiful when my son looks at me. And yet in his eyes I see you. Beautiful, majestic, godly, black. And uncertain of what true love is, there isn't a fantasy of my love for you. I can't tell you a beautiful love story that'll make you believe in love again. Instead, I can give you the story of my life, my first love.